Hey, truth seekers, welcome back. Zach here. In this video, we're going to talk about why Colin Kaepernick was chosen to be the celebrity athlete for this contrived national news story of the athlete unwilling to say the Pledge of Allegiance. This has happened before in U.S. history. We're going to talk about the times prior it's happened and how this was a major tribute to the 1968 Olympics, where Tommy Smith and his teammate did not participate in the pledge, but instead held their fists up for the Black Panther, Black Power tribute salute. Same year Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated. We're going to talk about how that tribute in '68 was directly synced up with the assassination of both MLK and Bobby Kennedy. This is going to be one of the most important videos I've actually ever made. It's a silly topic that they're pushing down our throats right now, but what I show you in this video is something you can take to your friends and family and hopefully wake them up with. Before we get into why this happened with Colin Kaepernick, in case you're new here, I need to take you back to what happened last NFL season and what I was talking about because it's directly related. Last year, I put out a lot of information on why the Super Bowl was rigged for the Denver Broncos to win, which came true. By November of last year, well before the playoffs began, I said that the Super Bowl would be Broncos over Carolina Panthers for the race war symbolism, and I showed how the NFL had been participating in these racially divisive psychological operations that our mainstream media produces. Right now in this world, there is a real agenda to divide the people of this nation over race, religion, sexuality, keeping us all fighting amongst ourselves and not seeing the tyrants who are doing this to us. And the same tyrants who run your media are the same ones who own your professional sports leagues and own the contracts of these athletes that they treat like pawns. So last year I predicted all of this correctly before the Super Bowl was set. I said Broncos would defeat Panthers. I said Von Miller would be the MVP. And I said there'd be a Black Panther tribute. And the reason I knew all that we're about to get into. But for doing that, USA Today wrote this article mocking me. Conspiracy theorist proves Freemasons rigged AFC and NFC championship games. This was written the off week before the Super Bowl on February 7th, the down week for NFL. He wrote this article about me, mocks me the whole way through. I'll link this article so you can read it in the description. What I want you to remember is how he uses this number 47,000. The first Super Bowl was in the 47th season of the NFL. He links a song called We Do through this link right here, which comes from the Simpsons cartoon. We do equals 47. We'll be talking about the later number 47 in a little bit, so just keep that in mind. But last year's research applies to this. Check this out. The reason I said that there would be a Black Panther tribute and Von Miller would be the MVP has everything to do with letters into numbers, the language of gematria, which is used to rig these leagues. Oakland equals 58. The Black Panther Party was established in Oakland in 1966, the year of the first Super Bowl. That was the 66-67 season, the 47th season of the NFL. Oakland equals 58. The establisher of the Black Panther Party was Huey P. Newton, gematria of 58. Cam Newton truly became the 58th quarterback to ever start in a Super Bowl. Heading into the Super Bowl, there had been 57. Peyton Manning had already been in a Super Bowl, so Cam Newton, by being the opponent starter, became the 58th starter of a Super Bowl all time. Cam Newton, Huey P. Newton, 58, Freemasonry 58. Von Miller was the MVP of the Super Bowl. Von Miller was drafted directly after Cam Newton in 2011, the same year Colin Kaepernick was drafted. Colin Kaepernick was also drafted by the 49ers, who hosted last year's Super Bowl, where the Broncos won. But the reason the 49ers got to draft Colin Kaepernick is because they traded for the Denver Broncos pick. There's a big triangle relationship between everything that's going on here. All of this is synced up. The Black Panther Party in gematria sums to 74, also just like the name Colin Kaepernick with that funky spelling, and 74 is a special number. Masonic equals 74, Jewish 74, it's the Freemasons, the Zionist Jews who run media, who run pro sports. We'll come back and talk more about this. Where I want to transition to is 1968, because this Colin Kaepernick story came out 68 days before his birthday that he didn't pledge, making him look like the enemy. When I was doing my Olympic work, I showed this website that had the 10 worst Olympic disasters ever, and they had this 1968 Black Panther tribute ranked as worse than the Munich killings in 1972. The Israeli athletes were supposedly murdered by Black Sunday. They had this Black Panther tribute ranked as a worse tragedy than the murdering of athletes. Oh, if you didn't see that video, I should have brought it back up. But it's back there if you want to go through the ones I put out in recent weeks. Anyhow, this was 1968. Colin Kaepernick's salute comes 68 days before his birthday from when the news story broke. We're going to be talking about just how synced up this 1968 event was by the numbers with the death of MLK and RFK that year. We'll begin right here. Tommy Smith and Pythagorean gematria sums to 54, just like Mexico City, which is exactly where this happened. I should have also mentioned that Mexico equals 33, so does the word Mexican. The Mexican-American War ended in history on the 33rd day of the year. Race war equals 33, KKK equals 33. If you're new to my channel, for 3 years I've been talking about the race war throughout history created by the media and the significance of 33. Rodney King beat on 3-3 March 3rd. By the LAPD, LAPD equals 33, just like KKK, just like police. So anyway, this happened in Mexico City, 1968. Teammates Tommy Smith, who won gold, and John Carlos, who won bronze, both up on the stage for the U.S. Black Power tribute. And at the time, it was a negative news story. Some people still think of it as a negative news story, you know? I think as people, we always have to learn to see with perspective and why somebody else's perspective is different than ours, you know? Never judge. Always try to understand. That's my motto. So anyway, Tommy Smith, John Carlos, these guys have some other interesting names in gematria. We talked about the 54 connection because there's an S in his name. It also sums to 63. When you add every number up to 63, it sums to 2016. Now we're getting this major tribute by Colin Kaepernick just after the Rio Summer Games concluded. And we'll talk about Rio and the NFL in just a moment. With regards to the 144 for Tommy Smith, we're going to talk about what that has to do with RFK and Martin Luther King Jr. in just a moment. John Carlos, who won bronze, gematria 43, champion equals 43, so does Civil War. You know, a civil war is all about divide and conquer. Abraham Lincoln was born February 12th, the 43rd day of the year. Civil War equals 43, so does Charleston, where the Civil War began. Barack Obama is the 44th president, but he's only the 43rd person to be president because Grover Cleveland counted as 22 and 24, so the count's been off ever since 24. Obama was elected on a date with 43 numerology, gave his acceptance speech in Grant Park. Grant Park equals 43. 11 plus 4 plus 20 plus 08, the year, the date he was established, 43 numerology. So anyhow, numbers of significance, 43. 52 is also a number of prophecy. Prophecy, having to do with future telling. So many major things that happen in this world are by the prophecy code. If you've missed my work on the Rio Olympics, I showed how the entire Olympics this year were by the prophecy code. They so often are in the world of sports. Showed this in the recent NBA championship and so much more. The number 115 also has to do with the word leader, you know. A lot of people saw this and saw it as an act of leadership. Different perspectives. The powers that be know that we as people have different perspectives, different culture, different understanding, and what they do is work to divide us over those things. Because we're spending too much time thinking about ourselves and how right we are and not why the next person thinks as they do. So anyhow, this incident, it was the Summer Olympics, but they were played in October. This incident happened October 16th, 1968. They probably did it that year because Mexico City's hot, and they probably also did it because they sync things up by the numbers and they have things planned out and we're living out a script. We're living out man-made, pre-planned prophecy by this gang of tyrants. It's a deep concept. If you're new here, you have to follow more of my work to appreciate and understand. So the date this happened had numerology of 113. The word mainstream equals 113. The word dishonest equals 113. Green screen 113. Think about how a green screen can be used for deception. In the Jewish Talmud, Baba Kama 113a says it's okay for somebody who's Jewish to lie to somebody who's not Jewish. And it is the Freemason Zionist Jews who control the media. Very obvious why they have coded this. And when you think about it deeper, it becomes clear that they also built our language. They built our calendar, Freemasonry 58, Secret Society 58, Calendar 58, Gregorian 58. We are living in the world they built around us. The reason Black History Month is February has everything to do with this number code. The reason there's 28 days in February has everything to do with this number code. Have lots of videos on this information if you want to check it out. It was a date with a life lesson number of 50. America equals 50. Think about the 50 states. America, the small way, also equals 32, just like the numerology of 7-4-17-76 equals 32. Call it the America number. This date had both of those numerologies. USA breaks down to 311. 113, the reflection of that. Should have mentioned that. There's also a date with 94 numerology, the reflection of 49, the number of Revelation, the book of prophecy. Now we have a 49er, Colin Kaepernick. We'll get to that. These two men, their birthdays, Tommy Smith was born June 6th, and his teammate who won bronze was born June 5th. Tommy Smith was born in 44. John Carlos was born in 45. Here's the image Google puts up for him, what he's remembered for. So anyhow, their birthdays, very interesting. June 5th is the date Bobby Kennedy was shot, and June 6th is the day he died early in the morning at 1:44, a lot like 144, which we'll talk more about. But the span of days, from June 5th to the day they did the salute was 133 days. From June 6th to the day was 132 days. What's interesting about White House is it has gematria of 133, and the White House has 132 rooms. Government equals 133. Community equals 133. You know, what they're trying to do with these stories is provoke a community, get people within a community to divide needlessly. That's what it's all about. Words such as temptation and anger have gematria of 133. One of my oldest videos is these two words are what often get the best of us. In this mainstream media, it's meant to provoke us. It's meant to intimidate us. It's meant to scare us. You know, these are ways it's done. With temptation, with baiting, you know, provoking material meant to get us angry at people we don't need to be mad at. It's interesting that it's also 4 months and 11 days because the word assassin in Jewish gematria equals 411. JFK was shot from 411 Elm Street, died on the first day of Sagittarius, having gematria of 144, died in the middle of Dealey Plaza, named after a 33rd degree master mason on 11/22, 11 plus 22, 33. Robert Kennedy, look at his name in gematria. 66, he died on June 6th at 1:44 in the morning. Sirhan equals 66. Sirhan's 33. Kennedy alone is 33. When you write out 33, it sums to 66 and 156. Robert Kennedy equals 66 and 156. And June 5th, the day he is shot, is the 156th day of the year in non-leap years. He was shot in a leap year, so technically it wasn't the 156th day that year, but every year that you remember his death, it's the 156th day of the year, June 5th. The movie Truman Show came out on June 5th. Truman Burbank equals 156. It's about a man who doesn't know his entire life is part of a grand manipulation. And really that movie is a mocking of us. Here's Tommy Smith, born in 44. Born in 44, remember that. Now age 72. Him and Carlos have birth numerology of 75, like New World Order. He was born in Clarksville, Texas, which has gematria of 58, like Freemasonry, like Oakland, like Huey P. Newton, Black Panther tribute, Black Power salute. Where he's from, Clarksville, Texas, also has gematria of 193. This is the 44th prime number, 44. Here's what you need to know about 44. Again, when you write out 44, it sums to 144. When you write out April 4th, it sums to 144. These numbers have everything to do with death and assassination. Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated April 4th. Again, Bobby Kennedy died at 1:44 in the morning. His brother died the first day of Sagittarius, which equals 144. Martin Luther King Jr., his assassin, would die in prison 30 years later. Saturn equals 30. It was also in this man's birth numerology. He would die on the 113th day of the year, April 23rd. Let me see. 30 years later, 1998. April 23rd, 1998 is a date with 144 numerology. That was Martin Luther King Jr.'s assassin. Malcolm X died on a date with a life lesson number of 44. His assassin got 44 years in prison, and his assassin's name, Thomas Hagen, equals 44. The word kill equals 44. All throughout history, people have died by these numbers. The first president to die in office died on April 4th, 1 month into his term, supposedly naturally, but likely he was poisoned by arsenic, the 33rd element on the periodic table. It's no coincidence that these numbers are quoted all over these men in this tribute that's synced up with the death of both of these men, which we're getting to. Before we get to it, I want to make one more point about Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X. Malcolm X in gematria equals 93. Martin Luther King Jr. in Pythagorean gematria equals 93. Those two men only met one day in history. They met on a date with 93 numerology, and both of them died at age 39. Both at 39, the reflection of 93. Saturn has gematria of 93. Saturn's the keeper of time. The word clock has gematria of 44. Their time was up by the numbers. And there's a gang who really likes these numbers, the same ones we've been talking about, the Freemasons and Zionist Jews. The Zionist nation of Israel was drawn up on September 3rd. Everything in that nation is coded 93 and 39. Why pair up Martin Luther King Jr.'s assassination with a gold medal? We'll talk about it. The word death has gematria 38. So does gold, so does Memphis, where Martin Luther King Jr. died. And death in satanic gematria sums to 228, just like Martin Luther King Jr. in simple English gematria, just like United States of America in simple English gematria. And I want you to think about how Black History Month ends on February 28th, 2/28, the 59th day of the year. All throughout history, the numbers 42 and 59 have been stamped on black men. The word kill equals 59 in Jewish gematria. Think about February being the only month with 42 gematria, ending on the 59th day of the year, a number associated with killing, and also connecting with Martin Luther King Jr., the only American to have a holiday named after him because of his death. Not a coincidence. From the day Martin Luther King Jr. died, April 4th, to October 16th, the day of the salute, was 196 days. And gold on the periodic table has an atomic weight of 196. We're going to talk more about the Denver Broncos and the 49ers in 196 in just a second. I just want you to understand this is really what's going on in the world. You know, ritual murder by numbers or ritual faking death by numbers, which is possible. Where Malcolm X was assassinated, Audubon Ballroom, gematria, the exact same as Freemasonry and secret society. The address is even the same, 166 is secret society and the name of the building. But anyhow, you know, you got the gold medal champion doing the tribute by the numbers, 44 coded all over him, 144, the numbers that all over Martin Luther King Jr.'s assassination. And the last thing I want to mention is the 79 for the atomic number up in the corner, number of protons in the nucleus. I think I got that right still. It's been a while. But anyway, the word champion equals 79, and so does the word murder. And it seems in the world of rituals by the numbers, there has to be murders for champions. I don't think Martin Luther King Jr. really died. Watch that interview of his family just before Christmas by 60 Minutes after his death. They're all laughing and having fun and talking about how they think they're going to see Daddy soon. Watch it. I mean, when you watch that, you'll be like, okay, what is going on here? I can't even believe they put this on TV. You might also notice over here in the corner the 19.3 grams per cc, cc33. It's not what it means, but remember, 19.3 is a lot like 193, the 44th prime number. John Carlos, he was the bronze medal winner. With regards to him being born on the 156th day of the year, again, we talked about this number. When you write out 33, it sums to 156. Mexico equals 33, race war 33, false flag equals 156. in Jewish gematria and false flag equals 33 in Pythagorean gematria. The World Trade Centers fell down 33 years after they were constructed in 1968. World Trade Center construction began in 1968. 911 was made the national emergency dialing code that year, and George W. Bush graduated from Yale and Skull and Bones. 33 years later, all that stuff came together. And what's really interesting is the firm that built the World Trade Centers, Magnuson Klemenkic Associates, their name equals 156. And the number 911 is the 156th prime number. 911, false flag, 33, 68. Mark Dice, the agent shill, I notice he has a video. He makes it all about race, calling black people those people. He refers to the people of Africa as those people over there. Go live with those people over there. You know, making it all about race and derogatory. Mark Dice, for months, has been really invested in this race war. It's because he's truly one of the agents, just like the people on TV. He's the agent they have out on YouTube. Each one of his videos gets more views than my whole channel. It's tragic. You know, I'm putting out the real truth. This guy's putting out hate, and the American people, that's what they flock to. They flock to the hate, the lies, the tyranny. The people of this world have been programmed to live backwards. And with regards to Malcolm X, agent or not, he did say that about the people of this world. They've been trained to love their enemies and hate those who are trying to help them. I know that all too well. So Mark Dice with the minute 56 video, it's no coincidence. Here's Colin Kaepernick, you know, 49ers quarterback through Denver, who just won the Super Bowl in the 49ers stadium. Denver Broncos equals the same thing as Levi's Stadium, all things I talked about last year when it was rigged for the Broncos. Let's also talk about some other incidents with the pledge. Roseanne Barr did a comedy performance for the pledge and got a lot of negativity for it. In fact, she got a lot of flack for it. That was the word. Flack is a word with 33 gematria. So let's see what's so funny about Roseanne Barr in regards to Colin Kaepernick. There's a parallel here. Roseanne Barr has gematria 58, 67, 130. Freemasonry equals 58 and 67. The word female also sums to 67. International Women's Day, 67. Roseanne, a controversial female figure. The 130 is interesting because Chris Jackson, who changed his name to a Muslim name in the year 93, also has a pledge incident, which we're getting to. Washington equals 130. Federal government headquarters. And this really is a federal agenda. It's a federal agenda to divide and conquer us. Our federal government is run by these Freemasons. Federal equals 33, like secrecy, like masonry. Washington, D.C. equals 137, which is the 33rd prime number. Roseanne, speaking of 33, also has birth numerology of 33, one for conspiracy. Gematria of 122, a number connected to God and the Jewish faith. San Francisco also happens to be on the 122nd meridian. But here's the real kicker. Colin Kaepernick's birthday is the exact same as hers. November 3rd, 11/3, like 113, like we just talked about. Mainstream, dishonest. You know, the numerology of the salute in 68. The day she did it, July 25th, until her birthday that year. Notice she's currently 63. Sum every number up to 63, it equals 2016. From the day she did it in 90 until her birthday was 102 days. United States of America has gematria of 102. Kia David gematria of 102. Fuck you equals 102. Al-Qaeda equals 102. The 9/11 attack lasted 102 minutes. It's not a coincidence. The Civil War began on the 102nd day of the year. Lincoln was assassinated on a date with 102 numerology. Special number here. Notice also the 14 weeks and 4 days. That's a lot like 144, the number for time. I talked about how 144 was connected to killing. In Jewish gematria, time also equals 144. There's 1,440 minutes in a day. The square root of 144 is 12. 12 months in a year. 12 hours in the AM and the PM. When she had her incident, it took place in San Diego. A ball game in San Diego. President George H.W. Bush, the president at the time, the guy who said we'd get the New World Order 11 years to the day of September 11th in the 11th state, New York, with the giant World Trade Centers that look like big 11s. New York also is on the 74th meridian. Jesus and cross equals 74. Jesus on the cross at age 33. The World Trade Centers came down on the 74th meridian at age 33. Jewish equals 74, Masonic 74, flagpole 74. Think about how they raise the flag for the ritual. San Diego 74, Mark Dice is in San Diego, probably not by coincidence. It's probably a Masonic compound down there, as there are in almost every city. Someday I'd like to go down to San Diego and find Mark Dice when he's clowning people on the street and clown him. Guy is the worst. So here's another one. This one got a lot of attention when it happened. Player for the Denver Nuggets. For the Denver Nuggets when it happened, Colin Kaepernick threw the Denver Nuggets, who just won the Super Bowl in the 49ers stadium. Not to mention week 2 of the preseason was 49ers versus Broncos, which we'll get to. So check this out. His birth name in Gematria was Chris Jackson, right? Chris Jackson, he changed his name to Mahmoud Abdul Rauf in 93. Think about Malcolm X equals 93, the Islamic connections. Malcolm X did it in 64. Civil rights equals 64. Barack Hussein Obama equals 64. Elected the 44th president 44 years after 64. Anyway, Chris Jackson, his birth name, has the same gematria as pledge. And with 49 and Colin Kaepernick, 49ers. Then what he changed his name to in gematria sums to 62 like Mason. Reminds me of how Muhammad equals 74 like Masonic. Predicted Muhammad Ali would die at age 74. That prediction came true. He died on June 3rd, 63 days before the start of the Summer Games in 2016. Again, when you count every number up to 63, it sums to 2016. Muhammad Ali equals 96. A boxing ring's 96 feet around. Open up the 96 Olympics in Atlanta. Same place Mahmoud Abdul Rauf lives now, Atlanta. Named after Atlantis. Atlantis equals 33. Atlanta's on the 33rd parallel. On September 11th, it was Flight 93 of 33 passengers plus 11 crew. Total of 44. In the Keystone State, Keystone equals 33. Mahmoud, his incident came March 12th, a date that can be written 12/3 in the year 96, Freemason 96. That was a date with 130 numerology, like his name, Chris Jackson, like Washington. It was a date with a life lesson number of 40, like United States. Date with 111 numerology. It reminds me of the One World Order, the New World Order. Remember, both the saluters in 68 had 75 birth numerology for New World Order. Triple one digit, 111. The name Jackson alone also connects to Star-Spangled Banner. Chris Jackson unwilling to pledge for the Star-Spangled Banner. And do you know what happened as a result of this news story? A group in Denver began harassing the Islamic community, going into their holy places and blasting the Pledge of Allegiance. That's what happened for weeks after this incident because of all the programming in the media. That's what I mean with divide and conquer over race, religion, programming hate. This is what people do in this nation. Oh, you hated me, I'm going to go hate you. How's that working out? Notice also his birthday is March 9th, a date that can be written 3/9 or 9/3, reflections of each other. The Jewish people go by the 39 books in the Old Testament. He's currently age 47. Named Kaepernick has gematria 93, just like propaganda, just like Saturn. They also talk about Carlos Delgado, but it wasn't as big of a deal. It was understood. They talk about the Minnesota Twins. They talk about the Anaheim Angels. I noticed Twins and Angels both have gematria of 31, like Pledge the Small Way. They talk about Dwayne Wade recently not doing it in Toronto. That's somebody already participating in a psyop in Chicago with the killing of his cousin, at least supposedly. If you haven't seen my work on that, you got to check it out. All this stuff is interconnected. Same gang giving us all the information. So now let's get back to it, okay? Colin Kaepernick, 49ers, the things we haven't talked about yet. The Rio Summer Games just began on August 5th, a date that can be written 5/8 or 8/5. National Football League equals 85. So does the word matrix. And we, the people of this world, we've been enclosed in a matrix of understanding by the numbers. Spirituality, science, history. It has been contrived by the gang that rules over us by the numbers. In our own history books that we read growing up in public school, it even tells us the victors write the history books. History has the same gematria as Freemason. And what the Freemasons do is do things by the numbers. They're builders, measurement. The word math has the same gematria as Freemason as well, and so does Rio, and so does Muhammad Ali. All of these things interconnected. So Matrix, National League, National Football League. Let me show you something I was talking about last year before the Super Bowl came around to justify what I was saying about the upcoming game. You can go back and watch my videos from before any of this happened. I was saying how in the 96 film, Jerry Maguire, the story of the main character foreshadows what's to come in this year's Super Bowl. The movie ends, first of all, just recognize that Cuba Gooding Jr.'s main character wears the number 85. National Football League equals 85. The National Football League began in Chicago. Chicago hasn't won a championship since the 85-86 season. Chicago won that Super Bowl 46-10 over the Patriots. Chicago equals 46. They won with the revolutionary 4-6 defense that year by the numbers. This past Super Bowl was the 46th Super Bowl of the modern era. After the game, Barack Obama congratulated the Broncos, saying they reminded him of the 85 Bears, and that was something I said. There were parallels between the two teams. Anyway, the name Tidwell also equals 85. This is what it's all about. If you learn gematria and you go decode your favorite sports team, college, NFL, you're going to be blown away by how many of your favorite players wear the number of their name. Some of them it's their last name, some it's their first name, some it's their full name, but it's very common. At the end of this film, the brother of Tidwell gives a Black Panther tribute, and his shirt gets folded up there, but it's got the African green, yellow, and red. And I was saying, there's all this foreshadowing for the race war symbolism in this year's Super Bowl hosted in San Francisco, not far from where the Black Panthers were established. Rod Tidwell is the full name of the character in the movie. Rod Tidwell equals 122, just like San Francisco. And, oh shoot, I didn't put it up here. Or I did. San Francisco is on the 122nd meridian, matching the gematria of its name. BPP for Black Panther Party in Jewish gematria also sums to 122. See the work I did sharing a subscriber's work on Afeni Shakur, Tupac's mother, a former member of the Black Panther Party, and the number 122. Very interesting stuff. So now here's the article, Colin Kaepernick, he didn't participate in the Star-Spangled Banner, and this is why. Colin Kaepernick sits down during the national anthem. I am not going to stand up to show pride in a flag for a country that oppresses black people. Mark Dice's video is like, oh, what an idiot. Black people oppressed when you're a multi-millionaire making $20 million a year. This is a nation that oppresses black people, and making an argument like that is absurd because Colin Kaepernick does not represent the normal black American in this nation. If you're someone listening and you don't think black people are oppressed, I challenge you to go to the nearest black community and see what their schools are like. I used to teach in South Seattle, the black community part of this city. What you'll find in that school are limited resources and the very worst teachers. And it's not by coincidence. Let's do a little gematria reminder with what our national anthem is called, the Star-Spangled Banner. This has gematria of 223. It's a dead giveaway for who created this nation. The Zionist banker tyrants who are also warmongers. I mean, just listen to the lyrics of our song. It has to do with bombs bursting in air. Remember when this song was being sung at the 2012 Olympic Games when Serena Williams was getting the gold medal, the flag fell from the rafters right as the lyrics were saying, but our flag was still there. And then this year, in the 2016 Olympics, Serena Williams had an upset loss to somebody she's never lost to before, somebody who she normally blows out on the 223rd day of the year. Not by coincidence. The name for the false Jews in the book of Revelation, the book of prophecy, who are said to rule in the end times, are the synagogue of Satan, 223. This is who created this nation. Masonic, 223. Masonic in simple English gematria is also 74, like Black Panther Party, like Colin Kaepernick. This is why Colin Kaepernick is being used for this made-for-TV, divide and conquer psychological operations. That's what a false flag really is, something that provokes people, divides them, gets them behind an agenda. You know, when the media puts out their headlines, they always use phrasing to program people. They use pictures that cast a certain image. You know, I don't think when Colin Kaepernick, even if like he was really standing up for his own personal beliefs, which he's not, he's just being the puppet stooge that he is, but even if he was really standing up for Black Power, do you think this is how he would feel about himself, or do you think he would have like more of a look of determination and like he's doing something? The media, though, puts out this image of him looking bewildered and confused. NFL quarterback refuses to stand during national anthem. I noticed the gematria of that phrase is 555, a number they love to put before our eyes in movies and TV for phone numbers and addresses. It's also the height of the Washington Monument in Washington, D.C., 555 feet. The Pentagon is 5-sided with a 5-acre court in the middle and 5 floors above ground. The Iraq War, the most recent one, began exactly 555 days after September 11th, started by the War Department at the Pentagon. Special number to this nation. 5 represents creation, balance. This nation was created by this New World Order, this Masonic Zionist world order that does things by the numbers and always has. Colin Kaepernick, again, his birthday, November 3rd, 1987. You know, I just did a video on another former NFL athlete being used for a psychological operations, Darren Sharper, who became a convicted rapist. Look at this. Darren Sharper is born on November 3rd. If I can zoom this in here for you to see. Same birthday as Colin Kaepernick, 113. He was convicted of being a rapist August 12th, exactly 83 days before his birthday. Football 83, rapist 83. Doing things by the numbers. So Colin Kaepernick, also born November 3rd. Notice he's born in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, where he had this tribute, or this, you know, not pledging tribute. He was playing the Green Bay Packers, also from Wisconsin. We're going to talk about why that's relevant. There was a real coincidence here in my own research with what happened with this news story. The name Colin Rand Kaepernick in Pythagorean gematria sums to 93. 93 as well as 102 as well as 111. It sums to all of those numbers. 93, the big number of focus. We've also talked about 102 and 111 in these videos. His name in Pythagorean gematria is 74, also 83, also 92. His full name in simple English gematria, 183. The 83 stands out there, and the name Kaepernick in simple English gematria is 93, just like his full name in Pythagorean gematria. Remember, the last time somebody got major attention, Mahmoud in Denver changed his name in 93. Kaepernick's birthday is also a date with a life lesson number 39, the reflection of 93. This became the national news story August 27th. Until his birthday, 68 days, again taking us back to the 68 tribute. San Francisco in gematria sums to 50, 59, and 68. 50, the America number. Remember, this was on a date with 50 numerology. San Francisco just hosted Super Bowl 50. They were once upon a time 5-0 in Super Bowls. 59, a number stamped all over black people. 68, again, connecting to the year, connecting to the distance in days. Now, here's the really weird part, and I'm not saying that this is true. The day before this even happened, somebody who follows my work said that they heard from another channel that there's a connection between Barack Obama and Colin Kaepernick is possibly the son of Barack Obama. Now, I don't know that this is true. Colin Kaepernick, his story is his mother had him when she was 19 and gave him up for his adoption, and the father's not known. If you look at Colin Kaepernick in the face and Barack Obama, you could say maybe there's a resemblance there, but, you know, that's a hard thing to say for sure. But here's what's really interesting to think about. The name Barack Obama equals 68. Barack Obama, 68. Again, we're talking about 68 days from the news story to his birthday. And the 68 tribute. From Barack Obama's birthday, Obama equals 84. His birthday is August 4th. United States of America equals 84. From Obama's birthday to Colin Kaepernick's birthday is 91 days. If you add every number up to 13, it sums to 91. There's 13 weeks and 91 days also. POTUS for President of the United States has gematria of 91. Barack Hussein Obama in gematria sums to 64, 82, as well as 91. So, you know, fitting name to be president of the United States. This is not his birth name. This is a made-up name. Whole lot coded into this name. Barack in Jewish gematria equals 216. He's born on the 216th day of the year. The assassination attempt on Lincoln and the day he was actually assassinated were 216 weeks apart. A lot of parallels between Barack and Lincoln and everything else being coded in this nation that has to do with dividing us, civil wars, race wars. Milwaukee, Wisconsin, where Colin Kaepernick's from, has gematria of 81. This year was the 81st NFL draft. Chicago in Jewish gematria equals 81, so does gold. Remember the parallels with the gold medal? Milwaukee, Wisconsin also has gematria of 99. When you write out 13, it sums to 99. We're just talking about how 13 goes with the whole POTUS thing. Add every number up to 13, it totals 91. Wisconsin and Georgia are the two states that sum to 44 in gematria. Obama ran on hope. Hope equals 44, the 44th president. The word president also has gematria 47. Kaepernick went to college at Nevada, University of Nevada, Nevada and Ohio, the two states with gematria 47. Ohio, the birthplace of football. Colin Kaepernick lost in Super Bowl 47 to the Baltimore Ravens. It was the Harbaugh brothers Super Bowl. Harbaugh equals 39, special number. Jim equals 32. NFL equals 32, 32 teams. America 32. John equals 47. And it was John who won Super Bowl 47, the one with the 33-minute blackout. The date this news story was created was August 26, 2016. It became the national news story the next day. America again equals 50, San Francisco 50, the 68 tribute on a date with 50 numerology. August 26th in numerology, 26 is 2 plus 6 equals 8. That date can be looked at as 88. If you put a the in front of the Star Spangled Banner, in Pythagorean gematria it sums to 88. On a date with 88 numerology, the Star Spangled Banner controversy, poison and program equals 88. And really, that's what it's all about. All of this stuff is poisoning and programming. You know, the mainstream media carries the story as if it's negative. You shouldn't do this. This is taboo behavior. Look, we're supposed to be a nation that's free. If you're told that your duty is to put your hand on your heart and pledge to a cloth with 13 stripes on it and 50 stars that you don't even know what it really means, you're not free, you know? You're not even allowed to have free thoughts. You are controlled, and if you don't follow that control, you're going to be judged by the brain-dead, programmed, poisoned people all around you. As a child, I was someone who truly recognized that I did not like the nation I lived in at a young age. I didn't like much about my upbringing. I didn't even like my own family. And really, sincerely, from a young age, I've made my life about empowering myself so that I can help other people and escape people who grow up in the same predicament I did. And that's why I'm so motivated. That's why I do all this work. You know, I think everybody who doesn't pledge allegiance is doing the right thing. When you put your hand on your heart and pledge to this flag, you are pledging to a symbol of tyranny, warmongering, fear, hate, division. I'm telling you, we got to take this nation back over. We got to take this world back over. We have to put this gang that's doing this to us out of commission. Not pledge to their flag and then shame people who don't. That's what's wrong with this nation. A bunch of slaves who love it, who love their rigged sports and their lies through the news and the hate. I mean, people truly love to hate more than love in this nation. Again, Pledge has this gematria 49, 49er. Colin Kaepernick, the 49er. Pledge the small way, 31. They were playing Green Bay. Green Bay. Green Bay equals 77. 7 times 7 is 49. You know, the square root of 49 is 7. Green, 49. Green, 31. Colin Kaepernick playing against the team from his home state. Backdoor relationship between the 49ers and Packers. Think about Mike Holmgren and a whole lot more. Packers also has gematria of 73, like Star Spangled Banner if you take off the. This happened 73 days after Flag Day. Flag Day. The flag is currently 239 years old, right? Before I get to that 239, this happened 73 days after Flag Day. If I counted the end date, it would have been a span of 74 days. Again, Colin Kaepernick, 74, Flagpole, 74, Masonic, 74, Jewish, 74, Black Panther Party, 74, and San Francisco 49ers, with the S exception just on the capital S, also sums to 74. Pledge of Allegiance has gematria of 85 as well, like National Football League. The man who wrote the Pledge of Allegiance, his name is George Balch. In 1887, 100 years before Colin Kaepernick was born. George Balch equals 83 like football. So again, Colin Kaepernick, this happened just after the 49ers played the Broncos in the preseason. That was the week prior. And again, the Broncos just won the Super Bowl in the 49ers stadium. Check this out real quick. So check this out. The Broncos just won the Super Bowl in the 49ers stadium in the Golden Anniversary Super Bowl, Super Bowl 50. Denver Broncos equals Levi's Stadium. In Super Bowl 24, the Broncos lost to the 49ers 55-10. 49ers blew out the Broncos in Super Bowl 24 with a young John Elway. Last year, the Broncos were 55 years old, and so was John Elway, and they ended up winning in the 49ers stadium with 24 points. They also, in this preseason game, just lost to the 49ers with 24 points, another tribute to Super Bowl 24. Plus, if you had the score last week, 31-24, 55, that number again. Andrew Luck had a fake injury last year. He's sitting out with 55 career games under his belt. It's because he's going to follow the legacy of what's coming after the Broncos. Two horse teams. John Elway, drafted by the Colts, traded to the Broncos. Out of Stanford, number 1 overall. Andrew Luck, drafted number 1 overall out of Stanford by the Colts, sent Peyton Manning to play for the Broncos under Elway. All the games are scripted, from the Super Bowls to even the preseason. It's this bad. But here's what's awesome. From the day of that Super Bowl, which was on the 38th day of the year, February 7th, 31 days in January, 7 in February, 38 days, Gold 38, Golden Anniversary Super Bowl. From the day of that Super Bowl until the day they played each other in the preseason was 196 days. Again, the atomic weight for gold. And A is the first letter, U the 21st. The 49ers Stadium's on the 121st meridian, 121, AU, 121. The Broncos went to the White House on June 6th, 6-6, exactly 121 days after the Super Bowl. Here's the meridian, the coordinates for the Super Bowl. From the Super Bowl to June 6th, 121 days. Revelation's the 66th book of the Bible, the book of prophecy, by the way. 49 the small way, 121 the big way. Going with 49ers and 121 days later and doing things by the numbers. All right, so we're just about to wrap this up. Here's the very last point. We're talking about the flag. We're talking about the 49ers. The flag was established June 14th, 1777. We just talked about how this came 73 days after Flag Day, connecting with the gematria. Packers, Star-Spangled Banner, Colin Kaepernick facing the team from where he grew up. So, the flag was sewn in Philadelphia at 239 Arch Street. The United States of America was just 239 years old for Super Bowl 50. It turned 240 this year, but the flag turned 239 on June 14th. This is a very special number to the Jewish faith in gematria. Torah equals 239. In their belief system, the Messiah will arrive through the Golden Gate. Golden Gate equals 239. Think about the Golden Gate Bridge not far from the 49ers. The word Messiah has gematria of 74, like Jesus, like cross. Like the numbers that are coded all over this story, connecting to the 49ers, Colin Kaepernick, and the Black Panther Party. All I can tell about the Jewish people who are trying to fulfill prophecy is their Messiah will be something of destruction, division, hate, conquering. This is what they're bringing about. And they're doing it by the numbers, and they need to be exposed. You know, there's a quote about, to know your enemy, find out who you cannot speak against. And in this nation, you can't say anything about Jewish people or you'll be labeled an anti-Semite. In France, another Masonic nation, you'll go to prison. It might be that way some here in the United States. And we, the people, need to wake up and hold these tyrants accountable, put them out of commission once and for all before it is too late, before we turn into France. Don't forget last year after the France terror hoax, the NFL had a lot of major tributes for that by the numbers. Have a video on it. There's one last thing I got to say, Truth Seeker. One last thing. This channel right here, RFG Chosen One, he is a liar. And in his own words, he said he's here to prove to the world that he's the greatest grand wizard, whatever that means. This person, RFG Chosen One, is lying to his subscribers, attacking me routinely, saying gematria is junk, it's bullshit, I'm making it up, it doesn't prove anything. If this person studied gematria, which he technically does because he follows my blog and channel, he just, for whatever reason, tells his subscribers it's bullshit. But if he followed my work, he wouldn't be making this video sending a shout out to Colin Kaepernick for this. He'd recognize it's a staged incident about divide and conquer. And if you listen to RFG Chosen One's video, what's he saying? He's blaming white people. He's talking about melanated people. You know, he's falling into the agenda. But what's comical is at the same time he says he's against the Zionists. Well, the Zionists, one of the first things they want us to do is divide over race. So if you're against the Zionists, truly, RFG Chosen One, I'm talking to you because I know you're going to watch this video. If you're really against the Zionists, you need to shut down the whole race thing you're promoting because that's play one in their playbook. You can't be exposing something that you're falling for play one of the playbook. And the other thing is I'm tired of people coming here and saying I'm copying RFG Chosen One's work. Anyone who says that is not informed. RFG Chosen One said on August 13th he was going to put out a video for $10 telling his Super Bowl pick, and he had to do that because if he didn't charge people money, YouTube would shut down his channel, which is rhetoric that doesn't make any sense. So what happened after he put out that video where he also attacked me and gematria in it? I put out a video responding politely to him, and I let his viewers know. When he releases his video, his Super Bowl prediction will be Colts and Vikings, which is my backup pick. I've been saying the Super Bowl will likely be Colts and Giants, and if I'm wrong about that, it'll be Colts and Vikings. I found the clues for the Vikings starting in April after I started my work on Colts and Giants in February, right after the last Super Bowl concluded. RFG Chosen One, the only sports predictions he's gotten correct to date are following my lead. Last year, he called Broncos over Panthers after me. Months after me for the NBA Finals, he called Cavs over Warriors. I called it at the beginning of the season. So, you know, RFG Chosen One is not being honest. He's attacking me. He's attacking my work, which could empower him and all of his viewers. And the real reason I'm addressing him at the end of this video is because his subscribers are growing. He's got over 10,000 subscribers now, it says. You know, he's potentially telling 10,000 people to stay away from something that could be very empowering and enlightening for them. And he's doing that just because he wants to cover his own ass. He knows that if his subscribers watch my work, they'll see that there's a lot more truth, there's a lot more substance, there's a real skill to learn. I'm teaching people how to do this to empower themselves, and that's it. I'm not asking for any money. I'm not selling any merchandise. This guy started the whole mess with me. For all of you who are caught up and think there's some beef between us, I just keep responding politely to him and ask him to stop lying. He keeps lying and trying to pretend he's about things he's not. I felt like this was an important close because what we're talking about is stopping a race war, and here's another young gentleman participating in it. As I said, RFG in Jewish gematria equals 93, a number that's often stamped on Zionist agents. And Zionist agents do speak out some truth, which RFG does. But he mixes it in with a whole lot of stuff that's very wrong. So I'm going to leave it there, Truth Seeker. It's all by the numbers. Until next time, Core, I want you guys to hear RFG Chosen One in his own words. I have no doubt that this young man is connected somehow through Freemasonry. They recruit young. Let's listen to him in his own words, and I'll tell you what's so comical about this. Here we go.
Okay, so one thing I want people to know is that most of the NFL players that join the NFL, they do not know that the league is fixed and corrupt. There's only about 4 4 to maybe 7 players at most on that team that know that the fix is in every game. So we're talking 4 out of 7 players.
So notice, 4 and 7. He says it twice. The second time he misspoke, he meant to say 4 to 7 players, not 4 out of 7. But the thing is, 4 and 7, we talked about those numbers in the beginning. The first Super Bowl in the 47th year of the league. Since the beginning of my channel, I've educated about this number. The word authority equals 47. The Zionist state of Israel was established in 47, drawn up on the date September 3rd. Again, RFG equals 93. And his shirt is a lot like the Masonic compass and square, what you see him wearing here. In all of his videos, he wears these shirts and sells them. The logo's a lot like the Masonic compass and square, which looks like this. And with regards to the big G in the middle of the compass and square, there's something called Francis Bacon gematria, where lowercase a through lowercase z is 1 through 26. Z is the 26th letter, A the first, of course. Uppercase A through Z are worth 27 through 52. Big G is worth 33, the number of Freemason obsession. And again, 33, always present in these stories of division, because the Freemasons are about order through chaos and divide and conquer. The 68 tribute was in Mexico. Again, the Mexican-American War ended on the 33rd day of the year. Race War 33, police, federal, secrecy, masonry. Number that gets coded again and again. So I want to hear RFG explain why he's using the numbers 4 and 7 to say that's the amount that are in on the fix. And what's comical is if you watch the rest of this video, he says that Colin Kaepernick must not be one of them. Colin Kaepernick was the quarterback in Super Bowl 47, played in Nevada. He's also the quarterback that helped the rigged finish of Super Bowl 47. If you missed that Super Bowl, it ended on the goal line like so many Super Bowls do, all part of the rigged excitement. The 49ers, for the second half, could not be stopped running the ball. Frank Gore must have averaged 8 yards a carry in the second half. They got the ball down to the goal line, plenty of downs to punch it in. What did they do? They gave the ball to Colin Kaepernick every time, who ran out, did the same rollout, and threw the ball out the back of the end zone. 3-4 plays in a row, losing the game. You know, Jim Harbaugh year, this inventive coach, reinvented football, dominant offense, and then couldn't figure out how to punch the ball in at the last second to win the game when it was so easy. An offense that had gained, you know, I think the worst carry the 49ers had in the second half went for 5 yards. The NFL is so fixed, it's a joke. You know, the Seahawks lost the same way the Patriots. Russell Wilson's 21st pass was intercepted by number 21 on the down 2nd and 1 on the date February 1st, 2/1. ESPYs equals 21. Russell Wilson was the opening joke of the ESPYs. The number 21 who made the interception went to the Grammys right after the Super Bowl and gave a award to Beck. Beck in gematria equals 21. The same Zionist Jews control the NFL, the record studios, your TV, and even your RFG chosen one. He can talk against Zionism all day. He's a little Zionist himself. And, you know, those of you who follow both of our channels, you better hold him accountable. This dude's a real fraud. I've been polite to this guy, but I see it now. He's definitely a fraud. RFG 93. That's why he doesn't want anybody to know about gematria. Then they'll know what a little fraud he is. See? That's why the truth always prevails. This kid's not about the truth. He's about his own ego. Until next time.